Let's all laugh at the Sugars, part 14. The Sugars. A particularly dim-witted brand of believer. At the moment, they are making preparations for an online Sussex Squad event to celebrate Archie's birthday. Yes, this is coming from the group that regularly lambast anybody that expresses an opinion about Harry's wife that you don't know her. And yet here they are celebrating a birthday party for a child that they have never met, don't know, and will never even meet. Of course, it's no surprise to find that the Sugars are in hypocrisy mode. Their dunder-headed dim-wittedness is demonstrative of the hypocrisy that rules their behaviours. Nevertheless, they've been fairly active in the comment sections of late, and therefore it behooves me to extract their behaviours, manifesting in comments, for your entertainment, so that you can have a good old laugh at the Sugars. So, no doubt you're now sitting comfortably, your false teeth are positioned correctly, that you're ensuring there's no fluid in your mouth and that you're not chewing on anything. And accordingly, you can now start to laugh at the Sugars. Bring forth the first batch of idiocy. First up is somebody called Mrs. Barbara Collins, who deems that it's necessary for her to put a couple of love hearts next to her name, perhaps to emphasise the fact that she's a very loving and empathic person. She states, online vultures are racist, capital R, and toxic, capital T, towards a woman no one has personally met, first indicator of a Sugar, alleging that nobody's met her. In actual fact, though, it then demonstrates the epsilon semi-moron status of this Sugar, because what that person has actually written would suggest that Harry's wife has never, ever met anybody. That nobody has ever had physical contact with Harry's wife, which, of course, we know isn't the case. She then continues, or a woman that hasn't done anything wrong to you or your families. How do you know that, Barbara Collins? You haven't met everybody who comments about her. How do you know that Harry's wife hasn't done something towards them? At the very least, Harry's wife offends people with the repeated lies that she tells, and therefore she has done something to them. Maybe not directly, but indirectly, but this is typical of a Sugar, to jump to conclusions, as we know that they're apt to do. But make careful note there, valuable viewers, of that phrase, online vultures. A little bit of a clue. Next comes Jennifer El Masri, who just launches in with a succinct but standard, obsessed with her. Yes, it's easy to state, but difficult to back up, because the bulk of my work has nothing to do with her, and if you bother to listen, Jennifer, rather than pouting in your picture, thinking that you are delicious and inviting, you might actually realise that this is a channel about narcissism, and that Harry's wife ticks so many boxes with regard to her narcissism, and so many people are interested in her, that she's an appropriate subject to be utilised. Indeed, it would be negligent not to utilise her for talking about narcissism. If you want to accuse me of being obsessed, you could accuse me of being obsessed with teaching about narcissism. That would be fair enough. Obsessed with her? No. Next up, happy wife makes a happy life. Well, sage advice perhaps, and a rose provided. Notice use of some form of symbol in the title. Have we seen this somewhere else before? This person's replying to Lord Sidious. Online vultures, there's that phrase again, are in the hundreds online and act like Satan the devil. Racist, ignorant, cold-hearted towards a woman that hasn't done anything wrong to you or your family. And then some further symbols. Is it meant to be a snake, I think? Interesting, Mrs. Barbara Collins appears quite obviously as happy wife makes a happy life. Is there a Sugar bot spattering the comments section of this channel? Well, we're going to have to keep an eye out on that. As I always teach you, look at the evidence. Next we have Tina T. Poor old Lord Sidious. He's coming in for a bit of flack here, because Tina T is now going to pronounce judgment upon him by stating, you, note use of capitals, need to worry about how God is going to judge you when he stops your evil, racist and toxic cold heart. Emoji, emoji. Get the point, cupcake. Much love for Prince Harry and Harry's wife. Hawaii. United States flags 3 times. Utilization of other symbols also. Could it be that Tina T is actually happy wife makes a happy life? I think there's a good chance of that being the case. Could it also be that Tina T is Mrs. Barbara Collins as well? Well, there's a possible good chance that that's the case. But Lord Sidious, he's been given a spanked bottom and sent off to bed with no supper. But Tina T's here again. She's not just stopping with Lord Sidious. No, it's an absolute slap down this time for Sandy. No, they know the online vultures are racist and ignorant. Yes, online vultures used again. But here comes Tina T. Happy wife makes a happy life. Telling @Carey Huff, is nobody safe from the rantings of this particular sugar? There's a real scattergun approach being utilised here, as Carey Huff is told, at the end of the day, the only one Prince Harry and Harry's wife have to answer to is God. The self-righteous, imperfect themselves, racist, toxic, online vultures are not God. Get the point, cupcake. Are you all getting the point, cupcakes, out there? But Tina T's returned now. Happy wife makes a happy life, needs a bit of a rest. That outburst of vitriol has probably left her spent, and it's time, as this tag teaming of viewers taking place, means that Tina T comes back into the ring, and this time it's Terry Kietzman who gets a slam down, stating their marriage is between Prince Harry, Harry's wife, and God. The self-righteous, imperfect themselves, racist, toxic online vultures are not God. And almost cut and paste from what happy wife makes a happy life having to say. Are you trembling where you're sat as you're watching this video? Are you concerned that you might be on the receiving end of a Mrs. Collins, happy wife makes a happy life, Tina T slap down? Are you going to be smacked about the chops with her righteous indignation as the presenter of justice from the right hand of God? Well, there's only one way we're going to find this out, valuable viewers, and that's to press on. Who've we got now? Is it going to be Tina T again? Is it going to be Mrs. Barbara Collins? Is it happy wife makes a happy life? No. It's a change now. It's somebody called Mrs. Dimples. Mrs. Dimples slaps down @Coffee 4 Days 19. The truth always hurts the racist and ignorant. But it would be a suggestion here that actually Mrs. Dimples is just yet another manifestation of this particular sugar. Maybe human sugar, maybe sugar bot, because it's tag team time again. And poor old Coffee 4 Days 19 is getting a right kicking, because here comes Tina T. You wish this was Harry's wife. Everyone is not racist and ignorant towards 2 celebrities that no one has personally met. That phrase again. Or 2 celebrities that haven't done anything wrong to you or your families personally. That phrase again. And of course, the smackdown of all smackdowns. Get the point, cupcake. Undoubtedly, you're now going to be telling your children that when they need to do their homework, you need to do your homework to ensure that you stay in school and do well. Get the point, cupcake. Those of you that are lawyers, undoubtedly the next time you're in court, will be making a forceful submission to the judge and ending it with, get the point, cupcake. Along comes Mrs. Dimples again, but this time it's @Mary Bodner who's in the firing line, as she's told, only the ignorant, racist and toxic would hate 2 people no one has personally met. Snake emojis. But back to Tina T, and now @Anna Cam, Ann Cam, finds herself on the receiving end of another burst of venom. At the end of the day, the only one Prince Harry and Harry's wife have to answer to, including how they treated their elderly family members, is God. The self-righteous, you. Imperfect themselves, you. Racist, toxic, online vultures are not God. And then the submission to end all submissions. Get the point, cupcake. But there's more! P.S. Registered nurses are heroes, especially during COVID. Thank you, Mrs. Dimples, for being a registered nurse. The bot's talking to itself. Oh dear, oh dear. Or, if it's a human being, their fake profiles are talking to one another. Quite simply a sign of madness. But is this madness going to end? Is this spray gunning of comments from this individual now going to halt? Will you be able to look at a cupcake the same way ever again? Let's forge on and find out. We have someone new. It isn't Mrs. Dimples. It isn't Happy Wife Makes a Happy Life. It isn't Tina T. It's Mrs. Carroll. What does Mrs. Carroll have to tell us? Well, at Park Messier is getting it in the neck. Everyone knows if Harry's wife was white, there wouldn't be such a backlash of racism and hate towards Harry's wife. Thumb down, thumb down. I'm a white American flag, and was raised to treat others the way I would want to be treated. At the end of the day, the only one Prince Harry and Harry's wife have to answer to is God. Uh-oh, it's Tina T, Mrs. Dimples. Happy Wife Makes a Happy Life, Mrs. Barbara Collins has returned again. It's like a many-headed serpent. You cut one head off and another one springs up in its place. She continues, the self-righteous, imperfect themselves, racist, toxic, online vultures are not God. Get the point, sweetie. What? No cupcake? We've been denied. But in comes Tina T, and poor old Lord Sidious. There he is, dazed on the canvas, having been clotheslined and slapped about the chops, and Tina T comes in again to give him some more pain with free speech, snake, snake. The truth always hurts the racist and ignorant, and this post is from a white American that was raised to treat others the way I would want to be treated. Much love for Prince Harry and Harry's wife. Hawaii, triple American flag. Coffee 4 days, 19k. You thought you might be able to stagger out of the ring and get some first aid. Well, I've got news for you. Mrs. Dimples is bearing down on you again. The online vultures can't take it that others were not raised racist and toxic, and this is from a white American. Much love for Prince Harry and Harry's wife. What another slam down there. Reeling from all of these attacks from Mrs. Dimples, Tina T, Mrs. Carroll, Happy Wife Makes a Happy Life, and Mrs. Barbara Collins. From now on, remember, if you want to win any argument, what you need to do is accuse that person of being an online vulture, and that they are imperfect themselves, before telling them that you're a white American. Doesn't matter whether you are or whether you're not, just use the phrase and then polish it off with a get the point cupcake or get the point sweetie. Surely there must be an end to this madness. Let's find out. Now, we have Penny Louise. Is this another manifestation of Mrs. Dimples or Tina T or Happy Wife Makes a Happy Life? Or of Mrs. Carroll? Well, there aren't too many emojis being used, so that might be encouraging. Penny Louise states, you are terrifyingly obsessed with Harry's wife. Baseless allegation of obsession. You may be an expert on narcissism. No, I am an expert. But I would wager a fair sum that an expert on identifying unhinged obsessive behaviour would rate you as 100% disturbingly obsessed with Harry's wife. Actually, they wouldn't, for reasons that I've already explained. I wonder if you are on law enforcement's radar. I am the radar, Penny Louise. You don't have to be a sugar to work this one out. No, but you're behaving like one. Hope we don't catch you on the news, CCTV footage or some ghastly crime documentary in years to come. Well, if we do, it'll only be in relation to you, won't it, Penny Louise? But we're back to Mrs. Dimples. She can't resist telling us that everyone knows how racist the evil British media and many Brits are, especially towards Harry's wife. But she's not finished yet, as she was responding to somebody else saying, looking at your pic, I can see why you are jealous. Incorrect use of jealous, you mean envious, of beautiful, well, she's not really, is she, Harry's wife. Yes, this individual flexing their sugar credentials to the max. We'll leave the last word to Cat Puss. Well, actually we won't, because I'll have the last word as always. But her observation is, when was the last time you saw live photos of Harry's wife? 8 months ago. Well, that's not accurate. The belly-crawling gutter press are making fools of all the hyenas, showing them daily bait, which has the slavering mutts baying for Harry's wife's blood. You should be ashamed of yourselves. You are sad excuses for human beings, the devil's disciples. Get over the fact that Harry and Harry's wife are happy. No, they're not. Free. No, they're not. And so much in love. No, they're not. They use all their spare time. Well, they've got fucking shitloads of it because they don't do anything much. Helping those who are less fortunate. No, they don't. They only do an hour a week for Archwell and have raised the profile of wounded soldiers to a pinnacle never before known. I think Help for Heroes might have something to say about that. My dad never received any recognition for what he suffered in World War II. God bless Harry and give him and his wife more and more success, and make every arrow aimed at them return to the sender tenfold. What a delightful human being you are, Cat Puss. I suspect you are actually full of stinking, malingering pus yourself, and what we need to do is get you off to Dr. Pimple Popper and ensure that all of that pus comes out and you're left a deflated crust. Once again, we've had a good old laugh at the sugars, because they're idiots. I'm H.G. Tudor. Thank you for listening.